I really like Jedd Fisch as a head coach, and I think that in 2024, Washington did an admirable job. They tried. They didn't always succeed, but they tried. They had buy-in culturally and also on the field buy-in. DeMond Williams Jr., he sat behind Will Rogers, and DeMond Williams Jr. was much more talented than Will Rogers. I think that maybe if they started him earlier, maybe they could have won more games. But again, I like Jedd Fisch, so I'm not going to question him too much. They went 6-7 last year, lost the Sun Bowl. I watched some highlights of that game today, actually, to prep a little bit for this video, to get a picture of DeMond Williams, and also just to watch a Washington football game, because they've been entertaining. Whether it was their winning ways in 22 and 23, or last year they played in a bunch of close games and tried their hardest, won some good games, lost in some bad ways, but overall were competitive for the whole season. Played some entertaining football, played some good football, and they had a good staff. And Brennan Carroll's gone, Steve Belichick is gone, Ryan Williams is in. Well, not Ryan Williams, but Ryan Walters is in. I guess I merged DeMond Williams Jr. and Ryan Walters together. But those are some big names for Washington this season. Those are actually, I think, the two most impactful names. The new defensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, Ryan Walters, and the new quarterback for Washington, DeMond Williams Jr. Those are the big names. And they're the big names because Washington they don't bring back a lot. They only bring back 52% of their production, which is 79th. And they're barely ranked inside the top 40 in preseason S&P Plus, viewed as 6.4 points better than the average college football team. Their trench play hasn't really gotten better in the grand scheme of things for this season. Now, long term, I buy Jedd Fisch and I buy Washington. And I think that bringing in someone like Carver Willis on the offensive line is a big deal. So they'll be a little bit better there, and they return Javon Parker. Those are two players on my all Big Ten teams, by the way. But in looking at Washington's roster, I found myself viewing this team as a team that's going to really have to be on the receiving end of good coaching from their staff and on the receiving end of bad coaching from their opponent's staff to really have a good year. Before we resume this segment, please take a few seconds of your time to make sure you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and for any team podcasts and playlists linked in the description, and also comment your thoughts down below in the comment section and join my Discord server via the description. All of those things I just asked you to do are completely free, and they sign you up for things related to my channel, or they don't sign you up for anything. No cost to you, and all the benefit to you because we release daily college football content here on College Football with Sam. If you want to support the channel monetarily, sign up for a YouTube membership, or check any other links in the description for my merchandise store and Patreon page. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the segment. DeMond Williams Jr. is on my all Big Ten team, and I think he's going to be a really good QB this year. But I also wonder if now that opponents have some film on him, and with some of the limitations of his supporting cast, I wonder if he's being a little bit overrated. Though some, I think, still underrate him. I love Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman's a top 10 running back in all of college football. And he is someone who can totally make up for an offensive line not being where it needs to be. Again, as I already mentioned, I have Carver Willis, tackle for Washington on my all Big Ten team. I have Denzel Boston there too, and Amari Evans, incoming transfer wide receiver from Penn State, is someone to watch out for, just to pay attention to for the Washington Huskies. Didn't reach my all Big Ten team, but pay attention to him there. I like what Washington has on defensive end with Javon Parker. I think that they have a good cornerback room potentially as well with Tacrio Davis and Ephesians Prysock. And they have some good players too overall, but they don't quite have, I think, a Big Ten ready roster. They have a Big Ten ready wide receiver room, one of the better wide receiver rooms in the Big Ten. They have a Big Ten ready quarterback. Ryan Walters has done well in the Big Ten as a defensive coordinator at Illinois. Jedd Fisch has performed well in the Pac-12 at Arizona when it was tougher, and he's working at a former Pac-12 school. He's been very much a West Coast guy, not in terms of philosophy, but in terms of, because we're not talking philosophy, I don't quite know how deeply connected he would be to a West Coast offense, for example. not that advanced here in this segment. But, coached at UCLA, coached at Arizona, coached at Washington now. He's been out there. So I think he's a good fit for the Huskies. I question their roster, if I'm being honest. This is a team that I don't have the best read on, if I'm being honest. Not because I don't know them at all, but because there's a lot of give or take with this team. Let me name you the offensive line starters for Washington, for example. Carver Willis and Drew Azzopardi at tackle. Azzopardi was good in the portal, was a good portal addition, but wasn't really a great tackle last year. Willis was a great tackle at Kansas State. The reason he left Kansas State's because Washington's in the Big Ten. They have a bigger, better budget, and obviously you're going to get on TV and be more highly recognized for doing well in the Big Ten than the Big 12. Packy Fino at guard, redshirt freshman. Gieran Hatchett, guard, right guard, incoming transfer, redshirt senior. And Landon Hatchett. And Gieran Hatchett transferred from Oklahoma into Washington. That's the projected starting offensive line. Who on that O-line, outside of Carver Willis, can you definitely tell me is a good player? I don't think it's definite outside of Carver Willis. So there's a lot of variability there. And then on defense, they have, of course, 11 starters, as does everyone. And 6 of those 11 projected starters are incoming transfers. Now, all of them are seniors or juniors or redshirt juniors. But regardless, still a lot of transfers. A lot of potential continuity issues. Also, a chance that it all pans out. So this team, I think, is a pretty high ceiling. And I think that 9-3 with this schedule, which I rank as the 12th strength of schedule for only Big Ten conference games, but I still think for Washington that's tough. 9-3 would be that would be a coach of the year caliber season, I think, for Jedd Fisch, and they're capable of that. I think more realistic is 8-4 as their ceiling, but it's reachable. And with the travel they have, let's look at their schedule here. Colorado State in week 1, UC Davis at week 2. They get a bye week 3 before traveling to Washington State on the road week 4. It's a rivalry game. Washington State does not have a lot of talent, even less talent than last year. That should be a win, but you just never know. Week 5, they host Ohio State. Week 6, they have to travel to Maryland. From Washington to Maryland, that's thousands of miles of travel. They have to host Rutgers week 7. Then they have to travel to Michigan week 8, going from Washington to Michigan, from Seattle to Ann Arbor. A lot of travel. They get Illinois at home week 9. They get a bye week 10. They have to travel to Wisconsin, from Seattle to Madison, Wisconsin week 11. That's going to be tough. They have to host Purdue week 12, travel to UCLA week 13, and then host Oregon week 14. If you're Washington with your home game win streak, you want those tough games in Oregon and Ohio State at home. You'd ideally want Michigan at home again, too. You beat them last year at home by 10 points. But the fact that, Maryland, I think Maryland is going to be a little bit of a pushover, but they still have some talent. Michigan won't be a pushover. Wisconsin won't be a pushover. UCLA won't be a pushover. UCLA with Nico and some of the talent they have, and just how sleepy the Rose Bowl is to play in, is going to be a trap game for a lot of teams. 4 of those games are either trap games or games in which Washington won't be favored. And then Oregon and Ohio State at home, this team can go 6-6. And if everything falls apart, and we've seen this happen with Ryan Walters' defense before, we've seen this happen with teams that are shaky in the trenches before, they could go 5-7. Now, I think that's everything going wrong, so I'd say 6-6 is the more realistic floor. This is a team that could be power ranked top 20 or power rated top 20 or outside the top 40. And depending on how their schedule shakes out, they could both go 6-6 in different simulations. That is how I view Washington in 2025. I'm ultimately siding with them getting a little bit better, significantly better, I'd actually say, in terms of power ratings, but in terms of record, only getting a game extra compared to last year. I think they'll beat Washington State, whereas they lost to them last year. I still am picking them, though, to go 4-5 in Big Ten Conference play. So 7-5, 4-5 in Big Ten Conference play, tied for 10th in the Big Ten. They'll go to their bowl game and probably win it due to virtue of playing in the Big Ten, and that's a tougher conference, obviously, than the Big 12 and the ACC. I think that they will probably get matched up favorably in a bowl game and then probably go 8-5. So, including the bowl game, they'll earn 2 more wins than last year. I could see them earning more wins. I think that every game, this is going to be bold. I think because of how things line up, the travel and who they host, I think every game's winnable. But I also think that every game except for Purdue at home, maybe Rutgers at home, the first 2 games against Colorado State and UC Davis, and maybe Washington's in the road, I think that all of them are, well, losable. I think that they have a lot of losable games, a lot of winnable games, of course, but it's going to be tough to get more than 7 or 8 wins with this schedule with how this team is built. I think that, like a lot of teams I've studied so far, their year is 2026. It's not 2025. Let's dive into some more predictions I have for Washington. I think that DeMond Williams Jr. will be a top 25 quarterback in the fall. This is my mild prediction. We're doing 5 predictions here on a Scoville scale. Mild, we have medium, we have hot, scorching, and hellfire. My medium prediction is Washington will win a road Big Ten Conference game. Now, it's medium because they didn't do that last year. And I don't think this team, in terms of build, is definitively way better than last year. So their road Big Ten games are Maryland, Michigan, Wisconsin, and UCLA. You have 4 of them. Michigan, in terms of talent and what they bring back, should be better than Washington, if not by double digits neutral field. But I could be wrong there. Wisconsin, with what they bring back and the fact that Fickell's in year 3 and not year 2, and if quarterback is healthy, they should be better than Washington once you factor in home field advantage. UCLA is a sleepy place to play. They nearly beat Washington last year, and that was in Husky Stadium. So what happens when the tables are turned and they have to travel to the Rose Bowl? And Maryland on the road, that's a long distance to travel. That could be a Friday night game too. And if that's the case, Maryland's crowd will be amped up, but Washington might be a little bit more on edge due to having 1 fewer game. Maryland will too, but they have the home. They're at home and they don't have to deal with that long travel. My hot prediction is that Jonah Coleman rushes for 1,300 yards at least, if not more, has 11 or more rushing touchdowns, and averages 6 yards per carry. He's coming back. I think the offensive line will be better. And while the rushing quarterback could take away from him some, it could also make him and should make him deadlier, because now defenses will have to think about 2 rushing threats to guard, not just the running back, but the quarterback, and the offensive line should be better. My scorching prediction is that the Huskies play one of Ohio State and Oregon within a single score, whether that's Oregon or whether that's Ohio State. With Oregon, you get the advantage that it's a rivalry game, and Oregon doesn't quite yet have the talent Ohio State does. With Ohio State, you get the advantage of Ohio State early probably won't look like a national championship caliber team with how much they lose. They have a lot of good players coming back, but they also have a lot of players who are questionable. And with how they've recruited at certain positions, you could see Washington at home with that travel advantage. Also, Ohio State has to travel way more than Oregon does to get to Husky Stadium. So there's a better chance Ohio State plays closer to its floor than Oregon does when they play Washington. So that's my scorching prediction, is that the Huskies play one of these teams very competitively and possibly could earn a win over one of them, though I think they'll lose to both. But at minimum, they'll play one to within a possession. My hellfire prediction is that Washington will not improve their Big Ten conference record. It's a hellfire prediction because a lot of people view this team as a sleeper, and their over-under win total is 7.5. If they just go over, or even if they, let's say they lose to Washington State, which is possible because it's on the road, it's a rivalry game, it's also early, and this team doesn't return a lot, and it's been Jekyll and Hyde, whether it's at home or on the road, and they have to play Washington State at home or on the road, there's a chance they lose to Washington State, but then go 8-4 or 7-5, and at that point, well, they've improved their conference win total. With how people view this team, I think I'm going against the grain here by saying they'll go 4-5 in Big Ten Conference play yet again. And I don't think that would be this horrible year for Washington either, because again, I do think that on the path of Jedd Fisch and how I've looked at, his Arizona tenure. Now, he inherited a better situation at Washington than Arizona, but year 3 was really the breakthrough year. And you're starting a quarterback, in truth, year 1. He only had, I think, 2 starts last year. DeMond Williams Jr. did. He had more playing time. He played key moments in key games. But 2 coordinators change. You only return about 50% of your production, only about half of the roster. You have a new DC who typically takes some time and takes recruiting certain players and developing certain players to really have success. And Washington lost a ton from the Kalen DeBoer tenure. I mean, they returned only, I think, 1 starter from 2023 to 2024. Like, let's give Jedd Fisch some grace here. If they do what I think they're going to do in Washington, I would not classify the season as a failure at all. It'd actually be more towards the successful end of the spectrum due to how I think they'll play one of Oregon or Ohio State, who have top 5 talent rosters, very competitively. Thank you for watching College Football with Sam. Make sure that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and team playlists and podcasts in the description, join the free Discord server where we talk college football 24/7, and have commented your thoughts down below. Check out the description for any ways you can support the channel monetarily. Everything else I've asked you to do is completely free, and your support means the world to me. We're trying to become the next big thing on college football YouTube. 6-figure subscribers, maybe 1 million one day. I think we can do that. And also check out any videos or playlists, anything in these columns right here, where there will be videos and playlists. Yeah, you get the point. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.